Say hello to my puppy. She does not seem to be enjoying this. This is Ginny. She's 5. And she's a little dirty because she just got back from the park. Hi. Anyways, hi everyone. My name is Camille and welcome back to another video. As you can see, I am very purple now. I just dyed my hair yesterday and I used a different hair dye, so hopefully this will stay for longer. The purple that I tried before only lasted like 1 wash and it was really annoying. Don't recommend Manic Panic if you want your hair to be semi-permanently dyed. Anyways, as you can see by the title, I'm going to be wrapping up all the books that I read in January. So I know I didn't make a December wrap-up, but that's because I think I read something like 36 books and I didn't want to go through all of those. I was trying to get to my goal of 200 books, which I did reach, but I was reading like 1 to 2 books a day and it was just like... that video would have been like 50 minutes. So yeah, I'm just moving on into the new year and I'm going to be talking about the books I read in January. So this month I only read 7 books, which to you guys it might sound like a lot because that is like almost 2 books a week, but to be fair, I was reading like 15 books a month last year. So I've been in a little bit of a reading slump, but also I've just been like watching a lot of YouTube and doing other stuff, so I haven't really given myself much time to read. But in this month, I think I might make some videos that are like swapping my screen time for reading and stuff like that because I have been using my phone too much and I want to do some more reading and get rid of this physical TBR. And as you're gonna see by all of these books, literally none of them are on my physical TBR, so that's not good, especially because I just bought a bunch more books, so I really need to get on this. Anyways, the first book I read was Powerless by Lauren Roberts. So this is a YA fantasy that is described as The Hunger Games meets Red Queen, and I kind of see it, but I also think that it's a little bit too close to those other ones. But honestly, I kind of think it's just a worse version. Like, this book was not very good. The romance between the 2 characters was like very insta-lust. Like, immediately when they met each other, they were like, oh, he's so tall, dark, and handsome, and so hot. I'm just like, can you give us a little bit of a slow burn here anywhere? But anyways, I liked the main character. She was pretty decent. This kind of reminded me of like YA Fourth Wing in a sense, as in both of those were not really well written and they're very similar to a lot of other books, but this one was also just kind of boring and didn't need to be as long as it was. Anyways, the synopsis is that in this fantastical society, everybody has powers. So these are kind of just like generic superpowers like invisibility, duplication, fire powers, all that kind of stuff. And so the king exiled all of the ordinaries, or people that don't have powers, and the reason they have these powers is because of this sickness called the plague. And so some people didn't get the plague, and so they don't have powers and they're called ordinaries. And the king exiled all of the ordinaries, but our main character is one in disguise. So her dad taught her to convince people that she's a psychic by essentially Sherlock Holmesing people, like just looking at aspects of how they react to things and what they're wearing and that kind of stuff, and she can deduce things about people where they think that she's a psychic. But really, she doesn't have any powers. There's this tournament that's basically Hunger Games style, and each little area nominates a person to go compete. And she's very under the radar until she saves a man in public who turns out to be the prince. She ends up being heralded as a savior in her community and then goes to the games. And I'll just leave it at that. It's a romance between her and the prince that she saved. So I think I'm gonna give this one like 2.75 or 3 stars. It really just wasn't my thing and it wasn't very well written. Next up, I read Mayfly by C.J. Leede, and this is described as American Psycho for the girls by Katie Coulson, and I really agree with that. So this is about Mayfly, and she works at Disney. It's not actually named in the book because she doesn't want to get sued, but essentially she plays Elsa and her friend plays Anna, and they just mess around and get up to a bunch of dumb stuff. Maeve lives with their grandmother, who used to be a famous actress, and now she is essentially in a coma and unresponsive. Her friend who plays Anna is an aspiring actress, and so Maeve looks up how long someone in a coma lives and how long it takes for someone to become an actress in LA, and for both of those it takes about 2 years, so she thinks that she has 2 years left to be with the people that she loves, but it doesn't go that way. We also learn that she likes to kill people. Her friend who plays Anna also has a hot brother who plays hockey, so it's kind of a hockey romance, but there are definitely some parallels to Patrick Bateman. I gave this one 4 stars. I thought it was really original and fun, and I was just very entertained throughout it, and it's a very short book. I forgot to mention that I read these 2 on audio. Next up, we have Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli. So I've read this book maybe 1 or 2 times before, and I've seen the movie probably once. The movie is called Love, Simon. And this is a queer YA book from somewhere around 2015. So it is a little bit dated with a lot of talk about Tumblr and teenagers using Facebook, but I still really enjoyed it. And it has my favorite trope where 2 people are communicating over text or letters and they know each other in real life, but they don't know who the other person is. I've been trying to find books with this trope because I just love it so much. But yeah, essentially the main character, Simon Spear, has been emailing this kid at his school that he also knows is gay, and he's basically fallen in love with him. But he accidentally leaves the emails open on the computer, and a kid named Martin finds them and blackmails him into helping Martin get together with Simon's friend Abby. It goes from there, and it's really entertaining and sweet, and I like it a lot. I think I'm gonna give it a 4.5. I gave it a 5 a few years ago when I read it, but I didn't really get that 5-star feeling. So I've been wanting to read this whole series for a while now, and I also read The Upside of Unrequited. So this is about Molly Peskin-Suso, and she is Abby, the girl that Martin wants to get with's cousin who lives in DC. And so Molly is a fat girl, and she has a twin sister who is very skinny and blonde and just conventionally attractive by society's standards. So she doesn't feel very good about herself because she's fat. And as the name implies, she's only had unrequited loves, and she's never had a boyfriend, and she's never kissed anyone. So this is essentially about her trying to find someone to date, I guess, and there are a few contenders. And I really liked what this book had to say about her accepting herself and her body, and I thought the romance was really sweet, and she was a really sweet character. I think I'm gonna give this one 3.5 stars. Next up, I got an advanced reader's copy of The Fury by Alex Michaelides, and this is the author of The Silent Patient, which is one of my favorite thrillers of all time. I love that book so much. And so this book is about Elliot, a playwright, who is friends with Lana, who's a famous Hollywood actress, but she does not act anymore. She has a, I believe, 18-year-old son named Leo, and they also have a friend named Kate who comes along to their vacation on an island in Greece. One person is murdered, and you don't know who did it. And so there are a lot of twists and turns in this book, but I didn't really enjoy the characters very much, and the twists were shocking, I guess, but they didn't really matter much to me because I didn't care about the characters. So I think I gave this one 3.5 stars as well. You can see my review on Goodreads. This book came out about 2 weeks ago, I think. So I finished it. I think I actually finished it on release day. Next up, we have another arc, which is 4 Weekends and a Funeral by Ellie Palmer. So this is about Allison Mullally, who is a BRCA1 character, and she just got a double mastectomy to prevent getting breast cancer. And at the beginning of the book, she finds out that her ex-boyfriend, who just recently broke up with her, has died in a car crash. And so when she goes to her funeral, the guy who die's sister asks Allison to pretend that they were madly in love and were gonna get married and do all these things, even though they only dated for like a month and weren't very close, and they had broken up before Sam, the deceased man, had died. And so Allison has to go along with this scheme, and she is asked by Sam's parents to clean out his apartment. And they also ask Adam, who is Sam's grumpy best friend that Allison has never met. So over 4 weekends and a funeral, they get to know each other and a romance blooms. There are also a lot of scenes with Allison and her 2 best friends, and I really enjoyed those. They're on a trivia team, and it's super entertaining. So the romance wasn't great for me. I have read a lot of romance books, so it didn't really hit me. It wasn't anything special, but I did really like the friendship in this book. Also give this one 3.5 stars. Actually, I think I did give The Fury 3 stars. And last up, I'm a little embarrassed to have read this book, but I read The Fake Mate by Lana Ferguson. So this is an Omegaverse romance novel, which if you haven't heard of that, I think it originated in fan fiction, and it's basically based off of the Alpha, Beta, Omega hierarchy in Wolves, which actually isn't true, but that's besides the point. Anyways, if you want to learn more about it, I would recommend watching Coley Does Things videos or just kind of looking into it yourself. But yeah, essentially the 2 main characters in this book are an alpha and an omega, so they're kind of like made for each other and then like transform into wolves sometimes. Anyways, they're both doctors and they fake date, and it was pretty entertaining. A very silly book, and was kind of just something to try to get me out of my reading slump. I'm not really gonna rate this one. It was kind of just for fun, whatever. Just a random silly book I thought would be fun. And yeah, that was the last book that I read in January, and I hope that I'll be able to knock off some of my physical TBR this month in February. And let me know if any of you guys have read these books or enjoyed them. And if you've reached the end of this video, please comment the sparkle emoji. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Have fun reading. See you later.